So do you all remember recently when I made a video pretty much slandering Best Buy just because their reps did not know anything? Well, this past weekend I ended up visiting my mom and I went to a different Best Buy because Best Buy had some decent sales, I'm not going to lie. But I had to go to the bathroom, and when I went to the bathroom, after I went there, I washed my hands, and after I squirted 2 squirts of soap into my hand, the whole soap dispenser ended up popping off the wall and fell into the sink next to me. Look at that. That is me right there. That is where, like, right on the left, that is where the thing used to be, the dispenser used to be, and the dispenser bounced off into the sink. I thought this was hilarious. I had to share this. Best Buy, does the build quality of your stores really reflect your customer service? Have we come to that point? Okay, let's just watch the video. Hey, what is going on, everyone? It is me, Mr. Mario, and yes, you are reading the title correctly. Tales from the Classroom. I'm bringing it back. I am sorry for the delay on this. I've only done 2 episodes of this. First episode got awesome reviews. Second episode, there was a big thing that happened. I remember Xbox Live got quote-unquote hacked, and I made a video about that immediately after I uploaded Tales from the Classroom. So the second episode got good reviews for what it was, but barely anyone watched it, which is completely understandable. I held off on uploading it. By the time I uploaded it, something important came up. Didn't do a video on it. So we are now in September, and the last time I made a Tales from the Classroom episode, or at least uploaded one, I'm pretty sure was May or even June. So I am sorry for the hiatus on this. This is a series that I was, I had plans for it. I still have plans for it, but I've been putting off. Now, I guess since classes have started again, I got, some drive to do it. So here we go. I apologize for the delay. We're doing episode 3 of Tales from the Classroom. So what am I talking about today? I'm talking about my entire high school versus the Wi-Fi network that was in the high school. So I don't know how it is in your high school or anything like that. Maybe even in middle school people are like that. In colleges over here, it really doesn't matter. Anyone can get onto the network. But if you're in a high school, more than likely there is a Wi-Fi network all throughout the high school, all throughout the campus, but they probably don't want students accessing it. If they allow students to access it, it's actually pretty awesome, but more than likely they're not going to. They're going to put a password on there and everything like that. Well, see, that was one big thing. There was this public Wi-Fi network that was made available at my high school. The problem was it was passworded. And even if you got through the password, there was some authentication you needed in order to certify your device to get online. So, of course, no one was trying to get on, and no one was trying to hack it, anything like that. At least that I know, I don't think anyone was trying to hack it. There was one guy I knew who was kind of into, that black hat stuff, and he was saying the protection was pretty good on there, but that's all I heard of it. So anyways, one day, this was junior year, so 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago. It's been almost 3 years, because this is my second semester of my junior year. I remember this because I had my iPod Touch at the time. I had worked my ass off to get this thing. It was $300, 3rd gen, 32 gigabyte when the thing was still new, and I will never sell that thing. I still got it in one of my drawers. I will never sell it just because I had to work for that, and I actually learned quite a bit from hacking up that device. So I had it. It was jailbroken. This was before iOS was even iOS. This was like 3.1.3, if I remember correctly. It was something like that back in those days. So anyways, I was 16 at the time. One of my buddies ends up getting word of the public password and the authentication that was needed. So he gave it to me. He was like, you know what? Here you go. I'm going to get you online. I'll give you the password and all that. Only thing is, you cannot tell anyone. And to this day, even though it doesn't matter, I still have not told a soul. People have asked me for it. Back in the day, people were asking me for it, but no. Kept my mouth shut. Didn't say anything because my friend said do not tell anyone. Even though he told pretty much everyone. And that was kind of another thing. I didn't tell anyone just because it was easy enough to get the password. If you asked me and I didn't give it to you, you could have asked like 5 other people and you probably would have gotten it somehow. So this is what ends up happening. I go ahead, the only Wi-Fi device I had on me at the time was the iPod Touch, because I did not have a smartphone at the time. I was like one of the last people to get a smartphone. But did not have it at the time, so I was on there, and, I was online. I was using, like Wikipedia if I was bored. I was looking up stuff on YouTube. Spark Notes was great as well. Another thing, though, I was torrenting a lot of stuff. Now, before you say anything like, oh my god, you were pirating, no. I was getting stuff off mixtape torrents. I needed new music. I needed it now. I thought of an artist. I looked them up on there. I downloaded the torrent, and I worked with Terminal in conjunction with some other type of downloader, and I was able to get all my stuff through there. It was actually quite elaborate for that little screen. So that's what I was doing on the Wi-Fi network. I was getting, all my new mixtapes and everything through there, just because it was easy enough to do it like that. So I'm doing stuff like that, and, we had free reign of the network for about 2 weeks, 1 or 2 weeks, I want to say. And I know what brought it down, okay? This is what ends up happening. It was my 7th hour. It was my English class. I was taking advanced English, and I was with a group of people. We all sit in the back of the room, and there were 2 guys. We're going to call the guy who owned another iPod. He had an iPod Touch 2nd generation. We're going to call this dude Justin. And then we had this one other guy. We're going to call him Marcus. Now, Marcus ended up taking Justin's iPod. We're sitting at the back of the room. He wants to look up something. He's like, oh man, you got the Wi-Fi password on here? Yeah, I do. I'm on the Wi-Fi. All right, cool. I didn't have to see it to know what was going on. But he goes on to an 18 plus website. We'll go ahead, keep it at that. He goes on to a website that is only intended for adults. And then he's laughing. And Justin's like, what are you laughing? Oh my god, dude, no, don't show me that. I don't want to see that. Marcus is laughing, and he's like, oh man, look at this. Oh, dude, look what she's doing. Look at all this. Marcus is like, no, like he's laughing, but he has like that nervous laugh going on. Like, no, I don't want to see it. No, man, no, not right now. No, not in class, So this is going on, and I'm just sitting there. I'm just like, really? You're going to be looking at that right now? We're all at this table. We're all here in a public place. You're going to be looking at that now? After about 5 minutes of that, he ends up erasing his history and all that. Gives the iPod back to Justin. The next day, the Wi-Fi network was nowhere to be found. I asked one of my friends. I asked my friend who gave me the password. He said he didn't know what happened. I asked some of my other friends who had access to the Wi-Fi network, and they were like, we don't know, Danny. We thought you might know what happened. We couldn't get onto the network. About a week later, the only glimmer of hope that I saw was the Wi-Fi network was up for about 5 minutes. I was able to get on, get my Spark Notes, and get to the page I needed to get to for that class right before they cut off the network. Aside from that, it wasn't to be found. So there was this one teacher's assistant, I guess, TA, or student teacher, that's what they're called. There was a student teacher in my U.S. history class that I was pretty cool with. So I asked her, I'm like, hey, you got access to the Wi-Fi network, right? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, well, can you tell me what happened? She's like, well, I don't know. Like, honestly, I'm a student teacher, and I can't get on the Wi-Fi network either. But it was taken down because some people, many students were on it, but there were some students who decided to look at some inappropriate things while on the school network. And then because of that, it was taken down. As soon as she said that, I busted out laughing, and I knew what Marcus did had to bring it down because it wasn't a coincidence. And if it was a pretty damn good coincidence. Like, come on. You're going to be looking at some stuff. You're going to be, trying to get your rocks off on the school's Wi-Fi connection. And the day after you do that, it gets taken down. That's a pretty good coincidence right there. So she says that, and I bust out laughing. And it was one of those moments. It's like, see, this is why we can't have nice things. We have something, and then, one person has to ruin it. At one point, we're in that English class, and I remember I just piled it on Marcus. I piled it on him because I was a bit bitter that he took away my Wi-Fi. You see, the cool thing about Wi-Fi was if you were on any of the computers at the school, any of the computers in the computer labs, unless you were on a teacher's account, if you were on any of the computers in the computer lab, or even if you brought your own laptop from home and hooked it up to the direct internet connection, you could only get onto the school's censored version of the network, which meant that there were many sites you couldn't go to. They blocked a lot of images. So, even email they ended up blocking. the beauty of the Wi-Fi network was that since it was only meant for students, well, no, for teachers and student teachers and teachers' assistants. Well, not really teachers' assistants, but you know what I mean. I've been getting confused because in college they're called teachers' assistants, but, you know, so it's only for student teachers and teachers. Those are the only people that are supposed to get on it. There's no censorship on there. You could be looking at anything. I mean, they monitor it as evidenced by this, but you could be looking at anything. There's no bypasses you need, nothing like that. It is fantastic. So that is what really got people excited about the Wi-Fi network, you see. And I was still a bit bitter about what happened, so I'm just like, hey, you know, if you want to know about the Wi-Fi network being down, how about you go back and ask Marcus? Marcus is just, he gets embarrassed from what I'm saying. I did this throughout the year. I was doing that throughout the year because I was still mad my Wi-Fi was down. But he's there, he's like, no, man, I didn't do anything. And then, like, these girls and guys, like, there's people asking me, they're like, oh, my God, Danny, like, what was he doing on the network? What was he doing? I'm just like, I don't know what he was doing. I didn't see anything. I mean, I just know Marcus did something, and after he did it, the Wi-Fi network got taken down. So you might want to ask him. In all honesty, I was telling the truth because I really did not see what he was doing. I knew what he was doing, but I didn't actually see it. So then people start asking him. They are crowding around him, asking, man, what did you do? You brought down the network. He's like, no, man, no. No, it's not like that. He never said I was lying, though. So people didn't tell him or anything. But no, throughout the year, I was bugging him the rest of that time. You know, if anybody brought up the Wi-Fi network, I'd be like, oh, well, you know, we used to have a Wi-Fi network, but then Marcus had to ruin it for everyone. So that's what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Just remember this. If you somehow get access to your high school's Wi-Fi network and you decide to look at porn on there, you will probably get it taken down for everyone. Because the Wi-Fi network did eventually come back after about a month. But it was a whole new encryption, whole new logins, and no one gave it out. Oh, and by the way, my friend who originally got it, he ended up getting it from one of the IT guys because he asked the IT guy, hey, what's the password for the Wi-Fi network? And the guy gave it to him. After that, it was on lock. No one was getting in. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario, signing off. Thank you for watching, everyone, and don't look at anything. Don't try and get your rocks off on a public connection, please. Don't do that. You're going to ruin it for everyone else.